How you going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be getting rid of the conventional wiper motor for something a bit more discreet and modern. Alright, so there isn't a whole bunch of filming for this one. Hopefully there is enough, so if you guys want to do the same, you can. The reason behind I didn't film it, this was a lot of trial and error for me, and I didn't want to put out a video where, you know, I'm going to do a hidden wiper motor and at the end of the video I don't have a working and functioning hidden wiper motor. There's already one more video like that on YouTube. He just goes round in circles and there's nothing in the end of it, and it's more confusing than anything. With that being said, you can buy these. Well, not this one's mine, but you can buy something like this. I don't have $600 to spend on something like this. I mean, look at me, I can't even afford clothes. So the wiper motor I've chose to use is from a VY Commodore. The reason behind that is I had a friend who's sending one to scrap. I know people in the past have put VT wiper motors in, and I thought there can't be that much difference there, so I took that just before it went to scrap. I have looked up pictures between the VY wiper motor and the VT wiper motor. The VT wiper motor in the main body has a lot more ribbing in the casting. This one's a lot more compact, so I think I made the right choice with this. It wasn't really a choice, it was just, you know, I could take it for free. To start things off, I took the whole wiper assembly from the VY. This was under a plastic shield below the windscreen. I had two choices on removal. I could remove the whole assembly. It was 4 10mm bolts, and they're also screws. They're bolt screws things, I don't know. Or I could try and give it a reach around and get the 3 10mm bolts underneath. So I chose to just take the whole thing. Once the assembly was removed and I just had the wiper motor there, I put the HZ one up against it, and there was a lot of similarities with the thing that comes out that rotates it all around. So I pretty much just took the HZ arm that comes off that and put it straight onto the VY one. The VY is a perfect circle, whereas a perfect circle with knurling on there, so the arm can grip onto the knurling. The HZ one, obviously, well, any H series, they have either a half moon or they've got 2 cutouts, depending on if they're a press light or a Lucas. This one's a Lucas and it only had the half moon or 1 cutout. So I just ran the drill through that and it went straight onto the VY wiper motor. And that's where everything that was easy ended. Now, when I say that's where everything that was easy ended, I'm really not underestimating myself. I tried positioning the wiper motor in the plenum in multiple positions and I was just not getting anywhere. I tried having it so that the arm was up and it would rotate like that. I tried it in the original position, obviously closer to the firewall, and I was really not getting anywhere with it at all. I had it so it would go around 3/4 of the way, and then it would get to 9 o'clock if we're looking this way, 9 o'clock, and the passenger wiper arm would contact that middle bolt. So I pretty much gave up on it, and then I came back to it with a fresh mind and positioned it in a different way where I still had the exact same problem. Now that problem was rectified with what I did was, normally on a conventional wiper motor, the passenger side one would go on first because it's got the little ear to catch on the thing on the motor. What I did was I put the driver's side pivot on first, and that little ear that folds in, if you're doing this and you see that ear folded in, I just folded that out. Now that gave me a bit more clearance on the arm that rotates off the wiper motor, but I still had contact slightly. So what I did was I took that arm off the wiper motor where it goes like that, and I flattened it out so it goes like that, and I cut a slit in it. As you'll see in the pictures, it's a lot more defined how I've got it instead of how it just goes normally like that. And that gave me the clearance that I needed. So Once that was all rectified and I could turn over the wiper motor and get 2 full rotations where I was happy with no contact, I did turn it over by hand. I just put a 13mm spanner on the nut and just cranked it over. I didn't really want to put power to it and have it bend, you know, wiper pivots that you can basically not get anymore because they're either seized or the bolts snap off in them and, you know, all that good fun stuff. So once that was all done, I then made a plate from the front of the firewall. It was just a triangle plate, just because the bolts are triangulated. And then I had one on the inside that was a triangle. And then there was a separate plate that came off the wiper motor that's in an L shape. So what I did was, once that was all in position and I was all happy, I welded the plate from the inside of the plenum to the plate on to the bracket of coming off the wiper motor, and then I could take it out and fully weld it. Oh God, that wasn't even near it. I had it in my mind that I never really liked the plate at the front of the firewall, that triangle plate. How I want to do it in the future is that I want to weld that plate to the firewall and it becomes a part of the firewall. So a bit of forward thinking, I made up a new plate with studs instead of nut and bolts, and I made it in the shape of the recession that goes on the front of the firewall. So once that's welded in, I don't have to try and blend in a triangle shape. I can blend in a shape that it already is, and you know, none will be the wiser once it's welded in. But I will say, nut and bolting it would have been a hell of a lot easier to line up things and whatnot, because once the studs are welded in, they're welded in. So once that front plate was done and I was happy with the fitment and the studs, I could then go ahead and finish welding up the inner plate and then go ahead and mount the wiper motor to that and then start assembling it in the car. Now, one of the things that is at the front of my mind when I'm doing something like this is how much of a pain it's going to be for disassembly and reassembly. Even though this was the final fit up for this, it will still come apart to get everything painted in the future. So I wanted it to be as painless as it could be. So saying that, this wasn't so terrible to disassemble and reassemble, so that was good. So I went ahead and reassembled everything. I mounted the wiper motor to the bracket out of the car and then mounted it all inside the plenum. So once it was all assembled in the car, I then went ahead and ran a wire from the yellow wire off the wiper motor wiring, the original wiper motor wiring. I know from previous experience that the yellow wire is the power wire. I then ran it to the blue and red wire, which is my fast speed setting on the VY wiper motor, and everything worked out. I'm very happy about that. So that being said and done, this thing's all finished. It still needs to come apart and get painted and cleaned up and whatnot, but I have a working and functioning hidden VY wiper motor in my HZ1 tonner. All in all, this thing cost me nothing to do. The wiper motor was free. The 2mm plate that I used to make the brackets is from another job doing the intercooler, so I'm not going to charge myself for that one. The M6 thread that I used for the studs, that was from another job, and really that cost me $2.15 or something for a length of it, so it was free. And you know, a bit of time and I managed to figure it out and get it working, and I think it looks relatively good. It works well. So I'm going to wrap this one up. So if you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all that. If you didn't like the video, maybe I'll do better next time. Take it easy.